Hi folks, John with the Wingman 115 channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm up here in my local playground. I'm at my little bushcraft Build-A-Bear table. Thought we would share with you today the SilverFire Scout 304 SS stove. Now the folks over at SilverFire have improved the brand. We're going to talk about some of the improvements today in this bio stove. As always, we're going to cut away. We're going to give you that tabletop specs rundown. Then we're going to do some practical application. Then I'll come back and then I'll give you some thoughts on this piece of kit. It's a fun day. You're going to want to watch this video, folks. Come along and join me. Let's open up the Alpine stowaway pot from MSR, which makes a nice nesting system for this whole piece of kit. So we pop it open. First thing we see is a magnesium bar with a ferro rod on there. So what's great about this whole system is that you can order a la carte and you can piece it out to suit your needs. If you already own an MSR Alpine pot, then you don't need that. You can just purchase the stove by itself, or you can purchase the stove, quote, with the magnesium bar and the ferro rod. Or you can also purchase it with a fork and spoon combo. So you really have a complete meal system here. Now, one of the improvements that SilverFire did over previous versions is the lid. As you see, this lid has 5 prongs. The previous version only had 3 prongs. So what you have here is increased stability as that pot nests and sits on top. Plus, if you have a water bottle now, it sits on there and you have 5 points of contact. So you have a more stable area to be able to work and cook. So with that said, there's a load limit to this stove, which is around 3 pounds for obvious safety reasons. This is a personal cook kit. So you don't really want to be putting any pot or bottle on here that would be more than a quart for obvious safety reasons. You don't want to get scalded or burned. So let me set that off to the side. Next item is the base of the stove. Now the base of the stove is important. One for airflow. Has these nice cutouts all around the bottom. It's got nice rolled flange, and this is all stainless steel. And then you have basically the main part of the stove, which is the combustion chamber. So let me set this off to the side real quick. The combustion chamber, I have basically the ash pan. So what's unique about this as opposed to a lot of the knockoff versions of the stove is that this has an ash tray on the bottom. And you ask yourself, John, why do I need an ash tray? Well, a lot of the other stoves, the knockoffs, the wannabes, don't have that. And this gets really hot and then it winds up doing a black burn ring on whatever this stove is setting on. So whether you're at a picnic table or a tree stump or you're on the ground, at least here you have a reflector. It's reflecting the heat back up. It's catching the hot ash that's falling, and it just helps to keep whatever's nesting protected. Now, you have the main part of the stove, and this is where the gasification starts. You have a 2-part chamber. So this is all open here, and then you have exhaust rings here. So what happens is this nests inside, this sets on the base. So as this is full of sticks and this starts burning, it's going to start smoking. And as this fire gets hotter, and we're going to illustrate, it's going to start gasifying that smoke. And this is going to work almost like the afterburner on a jet engine, where it's really going to be efficient. This stove is not going to smoke at all, maybe minimal. It might smoke a little bit today because we're up here. We recently had a rainstorm. So some of the wood is just a little bit damp. So you might see a hint of smoke as we get going. I'm hoping once this fire gets going and we have a good ash base that it's going to work just fine. So We're going to cut away. I'll show you how to load this up and feed it and get it ready to start boiling water and get cooking. Show you a little bit of fire prep of how we set this up to be successful in having a good burn with this stove. What I did was we did some shavings to get some fine tinder. Now keep in mind it rained and it did spit a little bit of snow last night, so things are a little bit damp up here. So as we get this fire going, you may see a little bit of smoke. Let not your heart be troubled. Once this stove gets hot enough and that gasification process kicks in, it's going to turn into like a jet engine and it's going to just be humming right along. Now, cut a little bit of pine blocks, help get that base. Went along and broke off some really dried oak limbs. Now I broke them off about finger length so they fit down in that combustion chamber really nice. What I'll do is once we get a good bed of coals, then I'll start putting in these 3/4 inch to inch dowel size pieces of oak, and then we should get a nice long burn time with that to allow our pot of water to come to a nice rolling boil. So let's cut away. I'll show you how I pack out the combustion chamber of the stove, and then we'll get to lighting this bad boy and start boiling some water. You're gonna wanna pack this stove so you get the maximum amount of airflow to be successful to start this fire. So, like I said, I cut a lot of these pieces of wood about finger length. So you're gonna wanna drop them in straight down, kind of like dropping in matchsticks. And this is going to help get your fire going and keep that positive airflow in there. You don't want to pack stuff too tight, just drop it in. And then from there, I'm going to take a lot of the shavings and I'm going to put those shavings in there, and we made little micro feather sticks. Having fun out here just playing around with our knives. And that's the thing, you're out here, you're having a good time, you're enjoying time with the family, friends, keeping it fun. So the more of these little paper thin shavings that you can put in there, the better. Now, depending on your area, I mean, you can use just about anything. And don't think this is just a woods stove. We live down here in SoCal. We have a lot of earthquakes and such. This could be an urban stove. Say your water goes bad and your gas and everything's down. Now you got a way to at least disinfect some water till help can arrive. You can be self-sufficient. So that's my public service announcement. We'll slide this out of the way. A little trick that the owner, Todd, of the company told me was to get some tack cloth. Now with the tack cloth, if you buy the good stuff, I'm not talking the new stuff like you're going to get at Home Depot or at Lowe's. You have to go to True Value. You're going to have to go to a paint store to get the one that has the linseed oil in it. And as you can see, I just laid it down. Look, stuff's sticking to it, right? It's doing what it's supposed to do. That's why they call it a tack cloth. Now, you take this magnesium bar, and now you have a way where those magnesium shavings are going to stick and not fly all around. And the good thing about that is that this linseed oil on this tack cloth is highly flammable. So you have a great way to be successful on a day like today when a lot of stuff is really damp and wet, and hopefully this tack cloth will burn long and hot enough to be able to get those shavings going, to be able to start this whole process. So what's cool about this is that this magnesium rod and fire steel combo is also a piece of kit that you can order a la carte on their website. So that's when I said at the beginning of the video, you can really make a one-stop shop, self-contained piece of kit without having to go all over the internet, driving all around town, trying to find pieces of items to put in this kit. Todd's made it real easy. Now, I'm starting to get a lot of loose pieces, so how I do that? Just tamp it a little bit with the tack cloth and then just keep scraping. So we got a nice little healthy pile of magnesium. We brought out a piece of fat wood as well. So what's great is I can use this scraper as well. And look, I'm just scraping nice little pieces of fat wood onto that tack cloth. So, put it all in there, get it all nice and sticky, bring the stove back over. I'm going to put my tack cloth down in there, maybe a few more shavings on top to help get things going. And then I use the ferro rod. There we go. Stuff's a little bit damp out here today, so sometimes it takes just a little bit longer. But what's great is as this tack cloth burns, it's going to take a while. Hopefully it'll dry out everything that's damp in there so we get a good, nice fire going. So we pull the camera back, get it out of the way. We don't want to risk burning up our camera system or getting it all smutted up. But as you can see, you get a nice long burn with that tack cloth. So Todd had a great idea. That's a great piece of kit. It costs next to nothing to buy tack cloth at a paint store. You can get, I don't know, 4 or 5, 6 feet of tack cloth for just a few dollars and cut slivers of it, wrap it in wax paper. You're going to be good to go. Especially in a situation like today where it is very wet. And we chose a day like today because, as you know, I'm in SoCal. And there's always a risk, high fire danger risk. So we took the opportunity today. Fire conditions are low or minimal at best. And we wanted to come out here in a real world environment and test this out for you folks. You can see it, hopefully the camera will pick it up, where you can see the smoke right there, and it's starting to draw that smoke back down in. So this fire is starting to get hot now. Filled my pot full of water. Let's put the cover on. Stove is working like a champ. Let's see how long it takes to boil a pot of water. Right now, now for the reveal. Got a nice rolling boil. It's taking a little bit longer than normal. Full disclaimer, taking about 20 minutes to get this rolling boil. But like I said when we first started this video, a lot of this wood was really wet, so it took a little while for it to dry out. Hopefully the camera can see deep down inside. Just got a nice bed of coals, and that gasification process is just working outstanding. Look how fast it lit that green piece of wood on fire. So this stove is working really efficient. Yeah, the extra time to boil the water, that's me with the wet wood, the wet, damp environment that we're in today. But this stove is just working great. And look at that, just nice cherry bed of coals down there. Just perfect. And it's all that oak, so it's going to burn for a nice long while. I'm going to put my pot of water back on there and just let it boil for a little while. So we'll cut away and I'll give you some final thoughts. Now for some final thoughts on the SilverFire Scout stove. We went over some of the bullet points when we first started about the 5-prong over 3-prong nesting. Pot sat on there really good. I gave the disclaimer when I started this video that because of the wet and damp conditions that this stove might smoke just a little bit. It did that. It wasn't the fault of the stove. It was all me. We chose to come up here in a real world situation. We didn't bring any wood from home, none of the goodies and none of that. We picked up stuff that we found in and around the area, and we wanted to make it a real life situation, like we were backpacking, or it was a survival situation, or an emergency preparedness situation. We had an earthquake or whatever may happen to you. So you want to get down to the nitty gritty on this, my score. Now, you know that I score anything between 1 and 5 stars. 1 star, it's a dumper, it's going to the boneyard, it's a fail, we need to go back to the drawing board and start over. A 5, it's a grand slam, it's hit out of the park. The construction, the way that it's compact, everything nests down inside itself. I like the fact that you're able to order this a la carte depending on your needs, depending on your kit. If you already own the nesting pot, if you already own a fork and spoon or the magnesium bar, you can piece it out to fit your needs. I really like that. It's a one-stop shop. You don't have to travel all over town trying to find parts and pieces to get everything together. I like the fact that Todd gave me that little tidbit about the tack cloth that you can get at any paint shop or good hardware store. You want to get the stuff that has the linseed oil in it. A lot of the new stuff that you get at Home Depot or Lowe's has some sort of plasticky synthetic stuff. You want to stay away from that. Get the ones that has the linseed oil in it. You can get the scrapings down in there. They stick really nice, and the burn time lasts a long time to help, as we showed, to get this damp fire going today. Once that fire got going in that chamber, this bad boy was humming like a choir, worked really well. And it took a little bit longer to get the water to boil, but obviously because of conditions, hey, it's no big deal. What's great about it is, barring the fact that if we had a big supply of food and water, we could stay out here almost indefinitely. Everything around us is fuel for this stove, whether it's pine cones, bark, twigs, and such. This is a great piece of kit, whether you have an earthquake, tornadoes, flooding, whatever, from the emergency standpoint point of view of it. If you're looking for an individual size cook system for you, I have to give this 5 stars. It worked as advertised. It's a great piece of kit. The construction of it, I get to see a lot of gear comes through this channel. Some of the stuff, I'm going to be honest with you, we don't even test. Okay, it's a fail before we even bring it in. We just don't do it. I don't like to do really bad reviews on gear. This is an awesome piece of kit. The burn chamber, the ash, the reflector, the 5 prongs, it nests up there really good. Everything all fits. It's a nice package. Hey, awesome. Thumbs up, 5 stars. I'm going to take a point right now to tell you, if you're not a subscriber, I'm going to ask you, what are you waiting for? You need to pull the trigger, hit that subscribe button. Don't be shy. You know you want to do it. We're doing a lot of great stuff on this channel, and I say we. That's a partnership between you and I, the viewer and me. Be part of the action. Comment. Get on the social media. All the links are in the video description below. We're having a great time, and I want you to be part of the action. We got a lot of things lined up for you folks. With that said, I appreciate you watching this video. This is Wingman signing out. Get out in the woods, folks. It's going to be a great day.